And you've got your shop.com shirt on. Way to represent.
Sure.
Yes, I'm going live on Facebook.
I have my layered.
And you got your
some
layered.
layered on.
My motives.
My husband just ordered me a bunch of layered. I'm excited.
I got my daughter some layers too.
I know. Reese got all these rings and I'm like, where's mine?
She kind of deserves it. I'm just saying. I mean, you too, Lisa.
Yes, she does. She does.
So you want to put the chat up so we can do some
Yes,
shout outs
sir.
real fast before we get going. Hey, Rodney, you're back. Rodney, you're right. Rodney said, Lisa said, okay, you don't have to shout. Rodney goes, keep shouting. I like the energy. Thanks for the backup, Rodney. I really appreciate that on the last session. And we have
Everyone's
Carmen
coming
and
back.
Katrina and Oscar and Alan Gardner. What's up, Alan?
Alan, you're in Maine.
Cullen.
In Virginia or something?
It's 80 degrees in Clearwater and in the house. I see. In the house. I was gonna say, aren't you guys in like a cold snap?
No, he's saying Clearwater in the house.
Oh,
I think. Like,
I think he said-
no, Clearwater in the house. I don't know. You can
I don't know
confirm, Cullen.
either. Oh, they
Yes.
hit 80 degrees. Oh, good. I'm glad. I was scared for you guys down there. You guys don't know how to handle that.
Right?
Well, Colin, you'd have been all right. You still have that Chicago blood, that Illinois.
Joel
Chicago blood.
said negative 60 with a wind chill in Minnesota. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Like just not healthy.
But for our Florida natives, I was worried about them. Like you guys were down. I saw an area that was in 30 degrees. I was concerned they were going to freeze,
30?
like literally freeze. Like they
Literally,
don't have the blood for that. You know what I mean? So
I almost turned around. I'm just saying. My heart almost turned around.
I don't understand why anyone lives there. I mean,
listen, you have to visit. It's an awesome state. I actually love Minnesota. I don't know if I like the negative 60, but I want to ice fish up there. I've never done it. Jackie.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like we got most people funneling in. We were rushing off of the 12-week action plan onto here.
Are we good with the Zoom, with the broadcast?
Everything's good. So we don't
Facebook,
have
alright.
a PowerPoint because this is more just fun, and we're gonna sort of interview conversation style with some people who are on the grow. And really our goal tonight is to give a countdown to World Conference, which I'm so excited about.
We're all traveling, y'all. For those that
We're
are
gonna
going
be
live,
there.
3 weeks from today, we're going to be on our travel day on the way down, or maybe even the day before. Think about that.
The whole Martin gang is going. We
3
booked
weeks.
flights for our kids. It's Chase's birthday Monday, so we'll be celebrating early with him.
Hurricane Haley's first World Conference in history.
Oh,
She's
boy.
excited.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's all gonna go, but Benson's gonna be there because Taiwan is at 64. That seems cold for Taiwan. But anyway, it's my pleasure I'll introduce Veena, and you can introduce Chevy because you know Chevy more, but Pearson-Hudgins is from California, but now full-time RVer. So she's sort of all over the place. But we were thinking about people who were growing that we could introduce to the field. Many of you probably know these people already, but different coasts, different ages, they're leading businesses and growth in different areas, and they have different styles. So we thought it would just be fun. And we're going to obviously add a little bit of our stories also, just to give a nice, well-rounded perspective for everyone that's joining us. If we have any guests, let us know in the chat. We just want to help answer some questions. Maybe if you've never been to a corporate convention, let us know that as well, if this is going to be your first one. But Veena is, like I said, from California originally. Her background though, Veena, and I'll let you elaborate on this, but it was as a traditional business owner, owning her own many larger spas, and then sort of skinny down to a skincare studio prior to, why don't you just share a little bit, Veena, about what you did previously to partnering with this company, and really what drew you to partnering, like what stood out to you about the business.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Lisa and Dawn, for having me on. I'm so excited. I get to see you all in, was it 21 days or something like that? So I'm super excited about going and being in person. But, I started, I always feel old when I say this. I started 30 years ago as an esthetician. I actually received my degree in international education. So I actually am an international esthetician, clinical paramedical. My vision And this is what is so interesting as I have gotten to know this business more and more, is really, guys, I've only been in the business 4 years, 4.5 years. So I'm not a long timer. I'm a lifetimer now, but I'm not a long timer. And, you know, with that being said, my medical spa my dream was to never have to advertise. I wanted to be that secret. So my business's name is Veena Secrets, right? And that's because I wanted to be exclusive. I wanted the people that needed what I had to come to me, not because of some ad that they saw. So it did work out. I actually had a 3-month waiting period even to get in to see me. I took that very seriously. So what I would do is I would go out and find the best of everything. And one of the best I wanted to bring in was supplements. Now, I bet you guys thought I was looking for the skincare or the makeup. That's a bonus. I'm going to tell you that ended up being a bonus. But no, I was looking for supplements. And I wanted something that went along well with my lectures, with my seminars. You know, I worked with, when I started looking for supplements, I legitimately went on Google and I Googled everything I could find. And I searched everywhere I could search. And then I tripped over these products. Now, I believe in divine intervention because, again, the one product, which Oxygen Extreme was what I wanted, that one product led me to a complete lifestyle change, a complete speaking to my whole being. To be honest with you, I wasn't interested in another business. You have to understand, I worked 10 to 12-hour days. I didn't have time for another business. I just wanted one product. That's all I was looking for. I actually have my own skincare line that I developed, and I had that. I didn't need anything else. Well, you know, they say you don't know what you need until you know. And that's kind of, as I started really understanding this business a little bit more, wow, that's all I can say. Wow. I was able to develop a skincare studio that from the minute you walked in the door, you were introduced to Market America. You were introduced to all the products that I normally would have bought anyway. But here's the really cool thing. I had a team behind me. They were an invisible team, but it was a team behind me. So I really was introduced to everything else through one product, and that was Oxygen Extreme. So
no, that's a great,
you know, from
point.
there, obviously.
It actually kind of is an extension of what we were talking about earlier, where don't assume what people are going to be interested in when you're talking to them about products or business. Let them tell you what they're going to be interested in. And so for you, leading with nutritionals is where it's at. But why don't we touch a little bit, because as you mentioned, you are a very busy business owner. And when we invited you to come to the first, once you've been to a conference, you understand the importance. But before getting to your first one, it's a really big leap of faith and a huge trust factor. So for you making the commitment, you're flying across the country from California to international convention, I think was your first, right?
A place called Greensboro, North Carolina. Yeah. Like, where is that? Can I ask? Where is that?
So what was that? And I actually forget. I'm sure Don had something to do with it, but like what even made you commit to going? Obviously you liked the product at that point. You weren't really ready for a business, as you mentioned, but you did agree to come. So why don't you talk about what that process was, and then what was your feeling or your impression after attending that first event?
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing. And if I can really recommend one thing, that's to listen. I mean, we really preach that a lot, right? Listen to what your people are saying. And with Dawn, I mean, does anyone really tell, other than Lisa Martin, does anyone really tell Dawn no? No.
Yeah.
So, but, you know, with Dawn, he heard what I had to say when I said, I'm an international educator. I travel all over the world and educate on skincare. And so he said, oh, you like to learn, but you like to learn from the best. Like, well, yeah, absolutely. He said, well, then here's your ticket. And I'm sure there's some flights left, because I'm sure you don't want to miss this, because you don't sound basic. You sound like you only learn from the best and you want to be the best. And so in order to carry this product and really understand what you've got. Now, remember, he was just dealing with product with me. He's like, you need to go. And I said, you're crazy.
That's good, babe. He's good.
Oh, yes. And so I said, that's crazy. I said, you want me to walk away? You have to understand, I did skinny down, but I still had a staff. I was still seeing about 800 clients on a monthly basis. We were crazy busy. You want me to leave that income, jump on a plane for some place called Greensboro, North Carolina, and I don't know anyone. So he started reaching out to who's going, like the names of the people and who they are, edifying these people. And I went on and started checking them out. I'm like, there's no way. You have a Dr. Deidre Mason? No way. Wait, you have it. You have this doctor, you have this person. Okay, fine, I'll do it. But I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to be happy. This is not going to be a happy time for me. I'm going to be mad. So when I got there, I know nobody understand this. When I got there, other than Don Martin, Lisa, I don't even think I'd met you yet.
No.
To be honest with you. It was just Don Martin.
A couple phone calls where you weren't happy about stuff. That's how I met you.
Some crushed boxes or something. We can't remember what it was.
Yeah, exactly. So when I got there, honestly, and I started listening, and I attended all these breakouts. That blew me away. This was no basic business.
Right.
That shocked me. And then to sit there, and this is no joke, my arms crossed, my legs crossed, my eyes could have been crossed, like everything was crossed. Why? I was not receiving this. I'm losing money. Guess what? The longer I sat there and listened, everything became uncrossed. And everything opened up. And I couldn't believe the tools that we were being given. I couldn't believe the education we were being given. And I couldn't believe I only paid $200 for a ticket. I'm like, Don, did you pay for part of this ticket for me? Because this has got to be worth way more than any $200 ticket I ever paid for.
That's a great point.
But the education, listen, if I can tell you anything, education is power.
Yeah.
You want to be powerful, you have to be educated. And I would feel so much less than if I didn't understand the entire program. And I was able not only to learn it, to teach it, to embrace it. And I remember meeting everyone that I met. And I'll never forget this, because it almost makes me cry when I say this, because I still really believe this. Oh my gosh. I remember walking up to Don Martin saying, you know what, Don? I've met my people. I am home. And I can't believe I'm saying that now, but not only now is it home to me, it's just part of my life. But I developed that by my very first convention. I've never missed. I've never missed one, because I don't want to miss out on anything. I want to be the best at what I do, because that's my personality. That's my personality type, right, Don Martin?
Yeah, it's amazing for you, because when you think about it, at first you were like, you thought we were crazy to want you to go.
Yep.
And then we worked on that, because it's that stinking important, right? And then when you finally went, now it's one of the things you look forward to most all year is to go, because you realize the impact it not only made on your life, but you also know the impact it's going to make on those that you're bringing for the first time, where they don't even know what they don't know yet also, right? So that's pretty awesome. Thank you for that feedback. And we'll come back to you, Veena. Let's move over to our other guest, which is Mr. Chevy Rennals. He is from New Jersey, and he is rocking and rolling in the business as well. He did a presentation, unfranchised presentation for us a couple weeks ago, and he absolutely crushed it. And I know he has a really unique experience. So Shelby, before we get into that with your first World Conference, tell us some of your background and and also what your current pin level is, because I know you're on the grow right now, and what the business has done for you so far, and also tell us about that first event for you too.
Awesome. First of all, thank you so much for having me on. Appreciate it. An awesome job, Veena. A little bit about me. I found this business in college, right? And I literally decided to launch my business about a month after seeing it, because it was just so different from anything I've seen before.
Yeah.
So, I remember being a college student, a junior, and my friends were graduating and they couldn't find jobs. And I'm like, wait a minute, there's no way I could finish school and not have a job. And
Mhm.
moving all the way from Jamaica for the American dream, that just was not what I was thinking would be my experience.
Not
So
an
I kind of started
option.
panicking a little bit, right? I'm like, oh no. So a buddy of mine reached out and he's like, Chevy, have you thought about owning an online business? And I'm like, not really. Like,
Mm.
what's that? So of course I was skeptical, but he explained to me this is vastly different from anything you've seen before. And I still was a bit skeptical, but I was like, you know what, let me check it out. What will it hurt? And when I saw it, I was like, wow, this is completely different. And I'm so glad that I took a look at this. So, I went to a convention, it was a regional. When I launched my business, I did not think about supplements. I was not interested in supplements. I just wanted to make money online. I was thinking about Facebook and Google, and that was my idea. Like, I just need to figure out how to get people to shop online. And Benson reached out to me. He's like, hey, are you taking your supplements? And I'm like, what supplements? He's like, remember that box you didn't open? So I'm like, it's around here somewhere. So eventually I decided to go and find those supplements. And I started taking joint support, calcium, and OPC3. And I started feeling a lot better. And I was like, wait a minute, this stuff actually works. I didn't think I needed supplements, but I realized I did. So after being on them for about a month and my follow-up, I eventually had a I decided to, so Benson he told me about the supplements. I started taking them. And after my follow-up, I was like, hey, doc, do you think I could fly to Miami? And he was like, absolutely not. Like, you cannot fly anytime soon. And I do not advise anyone else to make that decision. But I felt so great that I decided to go to Miami because I had to learn about this business because the products were so amazing. So my first day there, I was sitting in convention and then Olivia was like, hey, are you taking vitamin D with K2 as well? I'm like, no, Ben's only told me about these three. So I added that to my regimen. I left early actually. And I came back probably, they came home a few hours later and I was like, I'm still in a little bit of pain. They're like, drink this tonight, drink this in the morning and you'll be fine. I'm like, oh, they're giving me all this stuff. Crazy. The next day, I was able to sit through the whole conference. And that's when I'm like, wow, these products are amazing. Like, I got to do something with this business. And eventually I got promoted from the training system at work. So because of just learning about the law of attraction, learning about setting goals, learning people skills, because I was an introvert, public speaking, there's so many different things that I've learned from the leaders in this company, from our corporate team, from all the trainers that, I've been able to improve my career as well. So right now I'm a senior master coordinator, but that's just the beginning of this. I can't wait to really take this business to another level because it has changed my life. And like Veena said, like, I'm a lifer as well.
Chevy, in addition to that product, that product difference, and you realize that, what stuck out to you at that first event that made you realize that this business, from a business standpoint, was so much bigger than you even thought?
Really, it was JR. I've never seen a CEO like pour their heart out like that. Like, his mission wasn't to like make money. It was, how can I help you to create the life of your dreams? And I've never seen anyone like that. And just the camaraderie, the energy in the building, everyone being so positive. I'm like, where am I? But like Veena said, like, by the end of the day, you're like, this is where I belong. Like, I feel this, if that makes any sense.
No, that does, Chevy. Actually, we have similar stories. I partnered when I was a freshman in college, and my parents partnered with the company very early on, like mid 90s. And so it was May, I was almost done my freshman year at school. My dad sat me down and showed me the business plan. And he's like, you're already using the product. You're already, have some customers, whatever, like, why don't you partner with me? And I'm like, sure, why not? Like, there's nothing to lose and everything to gain. But anyway, he took me to convention that year. So just a few months later, so I was 19, I guess. And I don't remember anything that I learned, but I remember how I felt. Like, I remember that energy, which, you know, for something your parents introduce you to, I'm like walking in with my dad and I'm like, okay, are we going to get our learn on or whatever? And it was just like, their whole vibe was going on and the energy was intense. And I just remember feeling so empowered, and the amount of, I guess, belief that you have, not only in the company and the integrity of who's leading the company, you know, the executive sales team, and what they're very mission driven, which really resonated with me even at that time. But then recognition really stood out to me. And I remember, you know, I grew up in central Pennsylvania, so it's a pretty conservative, like farmy area. And I remember people going across at a director level, like hundreds and hundreds of people. And I was thinking, and I just decided, like, I guess I was too young to, in a good way, like I wasn't jaded yet. I was like, I could do this, you know, whereas sometimes when life beats you up a little bit, you have a harder time believing in yourself. But I just felt like if all these other people are doing that, then I'm going to do that. And then similar to being in school, I'm like, okay, I graduate and get this degree, and then I have a real job for big people. And I'm looking around the room with the people I'm working with, and I'm like, you just got to think a little differently. And all I knew was to plug into the GMTSS. Like, my dad wasn't really actively building at the time, but I knew that there was something, right? So that's the power of the events, is
and also
not
too,
what you learn, it's what you feel, and it's who you meet, you know?
Yeah, and also too, that event is for Lisa, like similar to you, Chevy, is what led her down the path of really following this as a business and then eventually make a decision to build it. But also that decision for her to go to that first conference where she was just, you know, wasn't really sure what to expect, led her not only to a extremely successful business, an extremely successful career now that she has evolved into the Moto's director of field development, but she also met me.
Wow,
she met me.
The best part.
Oh my goodness. So, and I met her, and neither of those things would have happened if we wouldn't have gone. I was 23, you know, so we're going full spectrum with all of our stories. When I was introduced to the business, and 3 weeks later, I went to my first conference. And the only reason why I went was because my accountant cared about me enough to make sure I bought a ticket, or else he wasn't going to let me register. Because he said, getting you to the event is like putting you in a sports car that can go 100 or 200 miles an hour, or getting you in the business is like giving you a sports car that can go 100 or 200 miles an hour, but it doesn't have a steering wheel. And the only way you'll be able to learn how to steer that car and control it and not crash it is if you get a steering wheel, but it doesn't come with one. You get that, you learn how to drive it, you get your steering wheel by going to the conference. And wow, did it make all the difference in the world for me. And when I first went, I wasn't expecting it to be anything more than a couple $100 a month and maybe meet some people that might need construction work, like when I was in the roofing business. But that first event, that first hour of that first event made me realize the magnitude of this business was so much bigger. And that first hour changed the trajectory of my entire life, and not only helped me create a really successful business, but also led me to be a speaker in the company and speaking in a meeting that I met Lisa, where she couldn't resist herself when she met me speaking. So, you know.
That's a whole nother conversation.
That's a whole nother conversation.
All right, so Chevy, so after the event, obviously what stood out to you was it was so much more than you realized, right? So what were like some
too, for sure.
Yeah,
blew my mind too, because being from Jamaica, third world country, like I never in a year, much less like month, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and I think we could sit and maybe remind all of the business owners who are tuning in right now, it's so important to stay and celebrate those people at recognition, because a lot of times that's when people are like going to lunch early, or they're taking a walk around the concourse or something.
It's the most important part.
Especially for guests and new partners, they have to see that, because that's the reality of the business, right? But was there anything specific that you put into motion when you came back? Obviously, you have a great supportive team, and I'm sure that they help set you up for success. But do you recall anything that maybe you did after the event, or started to do after the event, that you didn't do prior, that led to your business growing and new partners?
And same question to you after this, Veena.
I mean, definitely for me, it was like, where am I going to find the people? Like, people need to know about this. People got to learn about this. So I was actively prospecting, where before I was more of like, well, what are people going to think? Like, I think I'm crazy. How am I going to get them to listen to me? After convention, it was like, go, 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 get out of my way. Who can I show this to? I got to show everyone the plan. And that was really what I decided to do, because of the confidence that the convention gave me, for sure.
Love that.
That's awesome.
So you really just led with the plan, have as many people evaluate as possible, and then the right people are going to want to come on board.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
So it kept people, it got you to stop thinking about what you thought you should do, and then actually got you just to do it, because the confidence and energy that you absorbed by being there lifted you beyond the hesitation, right? That's such a good point. Thank you. How about you, Veena?
Well, at convention, obviously, I met Lisa Martin, and I really connected with the motives part of it that I hadn't before. She really explained to me, and especially through the breakouts. Listen, those breakouts were just everything to me. And seeing what I can do within my own business. But then I started thinking, she said something, I don't know if she even remembers telling me this, because I spoke in front of, hundreds and hundreds of people, but she said, she goes, you're going to speak someday in front of thousands of people and change lives. And it really, I was thinking all the times that I've spoken about my craft or anti-aging or all this stuff, I was changing that one person's skin. I was educating them, right? But how much was I affecting them? Listening to JR, listening to Lauren, listening to corporate, listening to all of that. I came home, and I'm going to tell you, I'm now a professional coordinator in the business, right? And that was because, for the simple reason, I decided to change lives. I was done not just educating, but I needed to change lives. So when I came home, my whole studio started changing, and I'm calling Lisa. Okay, Lisa, what do you think about this? She flew out. We did a big event. All of a sudden, I was embracing everything, and I understood the bigger picture of it. So I partnered with anyone that wouldn't just sit down 2 seconds. Just let me tell you. Let me explain something to you. I'm going to change your life. And this is how we're going to change your life. Because here's the other thing. I'm doing it with you. I'm not doing it at you or to you, or I'm doing it with you, for you. So convention really had me feeling empowered. I mean, just remembering every time I come back, the empowerment I feel, that's what I did. When I came back, I changed so many lives. And in the meantime, you have to be really selfless, right? You have to have that heart to give. And as I was changing lives, they were changing my life. And this company and this business changed my life. So
I love that.
I love that. Well, both of you are having a similar kind of, conclusion. And that is something that I often tell people: when you get to a corporate event, that it helps build the belief so strong. You need to have belief in yourself, and that's an inside job, right? So we can't really fix that for people. We can encourage them to do self-development, but the thing where the magic happens is there's an actual solid belief in the company and in the mission. Like you said, Chevy, like to see JR up there so unapologetically himself, which is a beautiful thing, because where else do you get someone who's just unfiltered and who's just being passionate and speaking his truth from his heart, and the company being so centered on its mission of the company's why is so all of us can achieve our dreams and have success as it pertains to us. And so when you have belief so high in yourself and then so high in the company, you feel obligated to get this in front of people, and you're not worried about your feeling of rejection or how people are going to judge you, because let's be honest, we all have that fear a little bit, right? It never goes away 100%. People want to be liked, and we don't want people to judge us. But the passion of feeling obligated to introduce this to people, that has to be higher on the scale. And I think that's what these corporate events specifically do, is it just builds your beliefs so strong where you feel a little more bulletproof. And it's like, you almost feel bad not sharing it, right? Like, Chevy, you have a powerful story coming from another country. And like, I didn't come to America to be mediocre, right? And just get by or graduate school and then have no passion or purpose in life like that. What a waste, right? You know, and then Veena, you being from running a traditional business where you understood what that reality is, but the fact that what you were doing, yes, you can make people feel good in that moment, but it doesn't, how long does it last past that moment? This is something that can change people forever, right? And so you just really get in on changing lives. It sounds cheesy, but that's what we're about, right?
And all four of us that are on this tonight all had our lives changed by being at that first conference.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the point that I want to make. So let me go to you, Chevy, here, and then Veena will have you follow this with this question. Why, I know people right now are just debating and deciding whether they're going to attend this World Conference, whether they're going to buy a ticket or not, whether they're going to attend it and actually travel to Florida, or attend it in a watch party or not. Why do you feel that anyone that's evaluating this business or anyone that's a part of this business should be there or needs to be there? Chevy, what's your biggest recommendation for them and why?
Well, my biggest recommendation for them is that, listen, people need this more than they know. And most people don't understand this completely. So because of that, they don't understand that they need it. But you know what? More and more people are going to be listening, and more people do need this business. So like, we have to be prepared. And the best way we're going to be prepared is to get to World Conference, whether it's online, whether it's in person. I'm definitely going to be there in person.
Me too.
Whichever way you can get there, I can't wait to see you guys. We got to get there, because if we don't have the information, the knowledge, then we won't be able to help the amount of people that need help out there. And this business is all about helping other people. So my advice would be, remove you from the equation. Don't just think about you and what this might do for you, but think about, if you got the right information, what would you be able to do for everyone? Or what can this business do for all the people that you know who may be out there, want to work from home, who needs better health, who needs a better environment, a better support system, so many different things. That's why we need to get there.
So good. That's Chevy, a hard one to follow, Veena.
It really is. And what you're saying, Chevy, is there's no other way to get the information. In fact, I always tell people, just from a 3-day weekend, you get 6 months to a year worth of education and knowledge to share with the world and to help you advance your business in a matter of a 2 or 3 day weekend versus having to take that entire next 6 months to a year to get caught up. And that's the great divide. Veena, how about you?
Wow, that is hard, Chevy. Thanks a lot for that bar. Listen, you know, the biggest thing is, when's the last time you listened to a concert? You can absorb that listen, but when you're there at that concert, you know who's next to you. You know that feeling. You can absorb the feelings of not only listening and learning, but you can reteach it, because you have that passion of that feeling. Now, the technology of watching it hybrid is amazing, but I'm going to tell you, there's a reason why we're driving a 45-foot RV clear across from California to Florida, because there's no way I would miss it. There's no way I'd miss it. It's about this community. It is about the community that you're in. It's sharing. It's not just sharing, but it's, again, it goes back to those vibes you get from everybody, where you know you're in the right place with the right people. And you're right. I mean, I know more than just jumped off of a planned showing just 5 minutes ago. That's 11, by the way, Dawn, and 11 that we just have to start talking about it. And what better place to talk about it than at convention with our people. You want to talk about being edified? Go put yourself in and around these Market America people. Here's the other thing. They don't talk at you. They talk with you. They hold you up. They help you. you cannot replace being with that person with anything, or being in front of JR. Are you kidding me? I'm not going to miss that energy. He just fills me back up. And I think that's why we do it every 6 months, right? Because it's enough to fill you back up, to keep you going. It's filling that tank back up. So
yeah, we all need it, you know? So I think, you know, one thing I'd encourage everyone to do, we're going to assume that everyone's going to get a ticket. If they
And you
don't
can't
already
wait for
have
that.
one.
You need to get it now. You can't
Exactly.
wait to decide. The most important call to action, right, is to not wait. If you most likely you already have it. I'm going to assume that,
Sure.
I mean, everybody here, we already had it. We've had our tickets for months. But for those the few that don't have it yet, you need to get it like now. You don't want to wait till later. You need to make a commitment to yourself and to your future, to right now, not tomorrow. Like before you go to bed, contact your senior partner, contact somebody in your organization that you're working with, ask them if they have a ticket available, and get it from them or from somebody in your team. And if they're all sold out, which a lot of people are, find them from somewhere else or get to the company and make your purchase. That's number one. And number two, decide how you're going to attend. And I encourage, for those of you out there that are going out to dinner, that are going to the gym, that are doing social activities and are getting together with your friends and your family and things, you're comfortable enough at this moment to do that, come down with us live and in person, right? Come down with us live and in person and get the full spectrum experience of not just the content, but the experience and the energy and the community and all the things surrounding it.
We all need it now more
we
than
all
ever.
need it now more than ever. We need that human connection.
Yeah.
And then for those of you that are still being cautious, and we respect you, to figure out a way to attend it online, but either way, or maybe with a watch party, a small watch party, or online, but either way, you need a ticket regardless. So the call to action is make your plans to go, make your plans on how you're going to attend, and get your ticket. I want to thank Chevy for being on.
Don, before
Go
you
for it. Come on, let's go.
There's one thing we're forgetting, and sometimes it comes up. Oh, the cost of the ticket, right? And I want to let everyone know it is a fraction of what we pay for our education. I was with one of my staff today, and she was telling me how her tuition is like $60K a year, right? And what I've learned from these conferences and these conventions, I apply in my everyday life. I am no longer thinking or using trigonometry or calculus or any of the stuff I paid all that money for, right? So when we think about investing in ourselves, $200 is really nothing. And it's also 2022. So if you needed a sign to get your ticket, today is the day. Grab your ticket. Thanks. Don.
Well, and you know, obviously in person is the best way to have the experience. But think about, you know, earlier at our week 5 of our 12-week program, we were talking about filling your funnel and prospecting people and having them evaluate. One huge blessing of the conference being live streamed now is you can have more people than ever attend, and maybe they don't have the belief yet, so they're not going to get there in person at this point. But they will buy a ticket and they will watch online, because Chevy, you said it earlier, like I'm starting to not make much sense, but
I want to marry you again after that shooken term. That made me,
I am a smart, educated person, I swear. This is what like working from home for, I need to get out and like go to Florida with people. But you know, the point is, I hope you don't miss out on this, right? Like we all know people, and sometimes all you have to do is ask the question. The answer is no unless you ask. And if you ask, the answer may be no also, but you can at least ask, because maybe the answer will be yes. And you might be pleasantly surprised. And if you can
change their life.
Yeah. And if you can create a community of people that can get together and do a watch party and evaluate in a group, that's so powerful. And we all have people in our teams that aren't coming in person that are doing watch parties. And if you are on watching with us and you want to put in the chat, if you're hosting a watch party in your area, maybe let us know, so that if someone's looking for someone to connect with, I mean, that's so important that we have that type of camaraderie and community. We don't want people to feel left out, right? It's so important. But so even if you have your ticket, I would challenge you to think about who you can sell a ticket to.
You can bring with you.
We typically, well, I'll be honest, Don, mostly, We'll double our attendance of our team and prospects the last 2 weeks before any corporate event. I mean, he's like smiling and dialing all day long, personally calling people, inviting them. Again, maybe the answer is no, but if you go through enough numbers, the answer will be yes. But here's the thing that we hate to have happen, and it happens to us all, is we're sitting at the corporate conferences and we're like, oh my gosh, if only we would have invited this person or asked one more person to evaluate, right? And we're so regretful. So there's time. It's more affordable than ever because people can all get in on doing a watch party. So important. But this was great. Veena, any closing kind of thoughts or comments before we wrap up here?
Listen, if you want to change someone's life, get them on to convention. It changed my life, and it doesn't matter the age. You notice they have this like young, good-looking guy on here, and then an older lady like me, right? So the age doesn't matter. It's whether you're my age, Chevy's age, Lisa and Dawn's age. It doesn't matter. We're all looking for that solution. Yeah. You have it. You have it. And if you have that ticket, absolutely shame on you for not making that phone call. And even if you don't have that ticket, guess what? There's someone that does. But all you have to do is get that ticket. Think of that ticket as changing someone's life.
Yeah.
Think beyond you, because what are they going to say? No. But you know what's better is that they usually will say yes, because you could be that someone's answered prayer.
I love that. Well, thank you both for taking the time and just being your authentic selves and sharing your hearts. We really appreciate it. You're the closer over here.
You can close it up. I just respect you guys so much, and thank you for sharing your hearts and your experiences. And I hope your story inspires everybody that's listening to share this. First of all, to decide for themselves to be there, or at least watch online again and get their ticket right away, like tonight. But then also share with other people. And we thank you guys so much for being on. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
See you all.
Have a great night. We'll see
World
you in
Conference,
Florida.
Fort Lauderdale, baby.
I'll be there.